Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to show you an example of a character web. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. See how the lines between the characters, I can't mouse over it without catching stuff, but see how the lines within the characters show how different people are connected? Now, this is only one way you could do this. You could also draw this on a separate piece of paper and then draw the lines and write some notes on the side. You'll notice this one that I found color codes the lines. This is a character web for a different novel called The Great Gatsby. It's, again, in my opinion, a perfect novel, but it's not The Crucible because I didn't want to take away all the stuff you guys would say. So the requirements for this are to have at least 5 characters. So you can see here that, I have more than 5 characters: Nick, Gatsby, Daisy, Tom, Jordan, Myrtle, George, and Meyer Wolfsheim. Again, so you might have like John Proctor, Abigail, Paris. We haven't met Miss Proctor, Goodwife Proctor yet, but you might have Goody Nurse, Putnam. Like there's probably 10 characters for you to pick from. I would recommend choosing the characters that were in the actively learned reading from last week, right? Because you have the most information about those before you read the chapter this week. The next requirement you have is there have to be at least 8 connections between the characters. So in this, you would see 8 lines here. So one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. A good way to think about this is every character is probably connected to 2 people. Okay, so if you just take every character and show how they're connected to 2 other characters, then you've done that. So for example, here Gatsby is connected to Nick because they're friends, and Daisy because they're having an affair. Whereas Daisy is connected to, there's a little pink line under there, both Tom and is friends with Jordan and ends up killing Myrtle. But if you read the book, it doesn't look like that. But she does. It's her fault. She kills Myrtle. Now, the last thing you must have, and this is probably the most important, is at least 4 explanations for some of the connections. Okay, that's why I did this in ThingLink, because it's software that let me import a picture of a character web already done. I didn't draw this. Okay, I found a good one on the internet. You might decide to do that too. But then you want to show, like, explain 4 of those connections and kind of connect to the motivation of those. So here, Daisy and Tom, their marriage is really unhappy. Daisy was motivated to marry Tom for money, but because the world didn't give her another option to be independent, she has to connect herself to Tom because she's a woman in the 1920s. And I don't think it's legal for her to be independently wealthy unless her husband died and left her all the money. Gatsby, and I put in gifs. This is a Gatsby gift. He's connected to these characters, but he has friends because he wants to look like he has friends, but he's actually really isolated. Um, and he's motivated to maintain the fiction of his life because he's just a bunch of stories. Nick, he has this objective perspective, and that's why people disclose their secrets to her. Gatsby's confidence is crucial. So, like, for Nick, I forgot to mention some of the character motivations. So that one isn't as good as it could be. This Wolfsheim one, his cufflinks are human molars, and that connects to the kind of violence that implies, that's accompanies his words. And Myrtle is Tom's poor mistress, and that's another form of economic abuse. And she's motivated to like get rich because her husband George isn't, but also that means she's willing to like be abused in order to like have that goal. So this is an example of like what would get an A on a character map. Keep in mind, you could have handwritten these like on the side here. That would have been fine. You can draw pictures of characters. You can just write their names and draw a circle around them. You could do this in ThingLink. I'm going to give you guys access to a bunch of different kinds of software. But if you want to do this on a piece of paper and just upload a picture, that's perfect. Okay. This video was a little longer than I meant to, but hopefully now you have an example of like what this is supposed to look like.